August 25th, a day in the life. I read the news today, oh boy. It was about a man who made it big. I read the news today, oh boy. Ow! What? That's like a personal favorite Beatles song of mine. Her phone rang at 3:45 in the morning. Strangely enough, Sunset was immediately snapped to wakefulness. Reaching over and grabbing the phone, she looked and saw who it was. Is it time? She asked. We're on the way to the hospital right now. Blossomforth grunted. Her voice sounded like she was already starting to feel pain. Will you be there? Do you even need to ask? Let me get dressed and I'll get going. Hanging up, Sunset immediately cast the light spell. Only she could see, so she could get dressed. But then the bed sheets next to her rustled. Go back to sleep, sis, Sunset told Twilight. Easy for you to say, Twilight replied. The person I was cuddling with is out of bed. One, that sounds so wrong, Sunset said, casting a cleansing spell on herself that would serve in lieu of a shower. Two, you could have stayed in your room, you know. Yeah, well, I thought you might show some female company that's not trying to get into your pants, Twilight teased. I don't remember you being this snarky in the time that wasn't, Sunset replied. I blame my older sister for that, Twilight said matter-of-factly. She's been a horrible influence on me. Twilight then laughed when Sunset grinned. She then asked, Is it time? Would I wake up at 4 in the morning for any other reason? Tell her I said hi, Twilight yawned as she turned back over. The rest of us can swing by later. I'm going to bed now. I don't know about you guys, but over the past 5 chapters of 5 books, I had been deeply into Blossomforth's little pregnancy arc and all the things he's been through. A couple of hours later, Sunset held a tiny life in her arms. So small and beautiful, with a tiny shock of sapphire blue and spring green hair. She opened her eyes, revealing cornflower-hued eyes that looked at Sunny with the wonder only a new life beheld. You have your father's eyes, Sunset thought. I'm sorry you won't ever know him, but you won't ever know a day when you're not loved, I promise. She then looked at the tired mother. She's beautiful, Blossom. Blossom entirely looked over at Sunset. Well, Sunny is just as beautiful as her auntie. When Sunset looked at her friend, Blossom gave a beautiful smile. I was serious about what I said earlier. If you were a guy, I would have tried very hard to make you my boyfriend. You're everything Flash wasn't. It's not hard to see why both Rose and Pinky are in love with you. If I saw in LA, I'd probably be too. Sunset looked at her friend. You're delirious, you know that? No, I'm serious. There's something, well, I guess you could say perfect about you. You're the perfect girlfriend and the perfect friend. I wouldn't want anything if it wasn't for you. Now I know you're kidding. Did you forget your parents backed you up? Yeah, unlucky Dad was more interested in my condition than he was in being a fire and brimstone pastor. I guess me acting like a preacher's daughter really brought it home for him. But again, I wouldn't have had the support I do if it wasn't for you, Sunny. I really do owe you. This is why I named her Sunset Blossom. Why I wouldn't ask for anyone else to be her godmother. I'm honored, Sunset said, touched. I really am. It's an honor just to have you be there for her, and me. The bedridden girl yawned. Now, given that I feel like I've run a marathon, I need some sleep. Would you mind staying a little longer till my parents get here? No, go right ahead, Sunset assured her. I'll watch the little bundle of joy then. Sunset was sure that Blossom hadn't heard her, as she heard dozing the moment she finished her sentence. She turned, and sure enough, Blossomforth was out like a light. Sunset then looked at her goddaughter. The term didn't exist in Equestria, though the concept did, as a pony. Sunset would have been called a love guard and a baby a love's ward. Just as with humans, it was an important role of honor, and the Alicorn felt like she couldn't shirk. It was just too solemn a choice, and one that she could respect Blossomforth's wisdom to. Then, as she looked into the child's blue eyes, she thought she saw something. And then Sunset looked. Deeper than Sunset Blossom's soul, a A tiny note of spellfire burned within, showing the child's capacity for magic. The look of surprise on Sensei's face was one she thought to keep off, let someone misunderstand. I'll protect you, little one, Sensei told her softly. If your powers are true, then I'll nurture them. I hope they aren't. I hope you have a normal life and grow up to be a normal girl. But that's not in the cards, and I'll make sure you will be as normal as you can be. Sensei then kissed the child on the forehead, and a flicker of the Alicorn's magic ran to the child. But until that time, just be a beautiful little bundle of joy for your mother. Be beautiful and better than your father, and I'll be here for you no matter what. The young woman held the child in her arms, humming the celestial lullaby to her until her grandparents arrived to take over. Sensei explained a few things, and with their thanks and gratitude to the teen, she left the newly expanded family to get to know one another. She stepped out of the room, yawning. She didn't need sleep anymore, but appreciated it as much as the next person. Another thing she appreciated as well, something she felt she needed, coffee. She walked down the hall towards the elevators. She hoped the hospital's cafeteria was open, so she could grab a cup, and maybe breakfast there before heading home. Her extended powers, she probably could have just summoned a cup, but what was the fun in that? She had several last-minute things to do before she was going to spend the day with her birth family, and be told all the ins and outs of Shimmer's biological family. So that she figured she was going to need to know before the adoption. The elevator took forever, and as Sunset got in, she wondered what else was going to happen today. Sunset? The teen looked to see a familiar girl with tan skin, twin-tone green hair, and brown eyes looking back at her. Garin, what are you doing here? Sunset asked. Why are you in hospital scrubs? Garin Fry sighed. It's a long story. You headed to the cafe? Yeah, I need some coffee, Sunset admitted. Same here. You probably have some questions on why I'm dressed like this. The thought did cross my mind, the teen admitted. Garin sighed. Fine, let's go talk. So, what's the plan today? Twilight asked the others as she came down. The triplets, Shimmer and Octavia, were already downstairs, while Raspberry was nowhere to be found. Well, Shim and Sham want me to come into work for new orientation, Dazio said. Guess the pizza place is almost ready to open up now, so they want to make sure that I'm trained up as an assistant manager before we take on new waitresses. I'm going to be teaching archery class at the Y today, Arya said. I'm also sure that the cute guy from County is probably going to be there today. Hope he doesn't screw up like last time. Last time, Shimmer asked her. I'm guessing there's a story to that. Arya laughed. Yeah, he's taking the archery course just to get to my attention, even though he has no idea what he's doing. Last time he tried to act cool in front of me and nearly shot an arrow to his foot. Nearly? Yeah. Looking for him, he was wearing sorries, and the arrows are blunt, so no harm done. You still hit punch through rubber, so I think he got the point. No pun intended. What about you, Sonny? I don't have anything going on. Why? Twy and I were thinking about going to Bonnie's place today and try to see if they have a special project done in time for the adoption. Said that she and her sister are going to be working on it, so it's important to everyone. But she wanted me to swing by, see how it's going, and find any advice. Yes, sir, count me in. The youngest stripper replied, I'd love to go. Sorry, but I'm going to have to cancel out, as much as I'd love to go, Octavia replied. For one, your mom asked me to watch on the Spike. Secondly, Ross has been depressed for the past few days since he found out about that thing she refuses to talk about. The picture in L.A.? Yeah, that one. I guess I should stay then, Shimmer said. She could probably use some friends right now. Adazio scoffed. No, what she could use is an ass. Enough! Arya slammed her hands on the table, glaring at her old sister. What the hell is your problem, Dazzy? Roz is stuck here, probably permanently. She had to give up everything, and she had to go through hell in the past couple of days. Oh, for fuck's sake, do you actually believe... Sana glared at her sister. Yes, we do. In fact, we have one who's like a sister to us, remember? We are fucking related to an alien, so yes, I believe it. Adazio looked over at the table at her family, all glaring at her. Oh, so am I the bad guy here? Twice sighed. Dazzy, no one's saying you have to be best buddies with her, okay? But be nice to her. Without her, we would have been in a world of hell, if not straight up dead. I don't have to remind you that she and Sunny might be the last of their kind. Sunny has us, so I don't know how she's reacted yet, but Raz... I'm done. She threw up her hands and got off the table. I have to go to work. We're not done talking about this, Octavia said, clamping her hand down on her cousin's. Remove it or you lose it. She growled. So you're gonna treat me like Raz too? Is that what you're saying? Octavia hissed. I thought we were family. Dacia reacted as though she had been slapped. Instead, a wounded look came over her face as she pulled away her hand from Octavia's grasp. Muttering a barely audible sorry, she headed towards the door, pausing only to grab her purse and keys. A few seconds later, the rumble of a motorcycle could be heard as she took off. Twilight sighed. I'm sorry I had to see that, Summer. It's okay. This is destiny. I've seen much worse, the teen replied. No, it's not okay. Arya looked at the door, where her sister had been a few moments ago. We had to tell your parents, Twilight. This has gone long enough. If we don't do something, she's gonna come to blows with Raz, and then Aunt Velvet's gonna be grounded of all of us for not telling her sooner. Okay, I know. Anyway, Simmy, do you mind coming with us to Saigon Suites? In the event it might be tied to how Sunny likes him, well, say no more, Simmer replied. I just mind you don't. That's today. I can pick up something special for my mom and Sophia when they get here from Atlanta. I completely forgot about that, Octavia replied. You two still planning to go over the paperwork and whatnot with Sunset tomorrow? We have to. Z is my twin sister after all, Simmer said with a slight grin. In any case, the documents should be arriving at my uncle's place tonight. Also, give us time to read them. Nothing bad, I hope. No, I doubt it. My mother has already said she is not going to contest the adoption. If anything, the documents will say that she's being written out of the formal family name 6 years old. They may give her a family stipend, especially given her ordeal, and will be recognized as a princess of House of Bonaparte. But she probably won't have any say in how things are done family-wise. If anything, the real problem is going to be hitting any minute now. Any minute now. So Renard, yep. I got an email from several of my friends this morning. The news is already the friends' media. They're already asking repeatedly what my sister is like. As they know I'm here in Canterlot, you can bet the press knows about it too. Things might get a little hectic. The teen said with slight buzz of embarrassment. How hectic? Twilight asked. Oh, well! The shout came from Spike, who was by the front window. Hey, check it out! There's a bunch of news fans packed right outside the front gate. Nani! All the girls, save for Simmer, said. Zita expected this, she sighed. Taking a drink of her coffee, she explained, Look, back at home, we're not too big of a deal. Any more than the wealthy person is here in San Palermo, but here, that princess part kicks in with extra importance. I figure that the less scrupulous of the press in France would do anything for that exclusive, just like they would do here. The two remained silent looked at each other, then back towards the hidden doors to the siren lair beneath the home. No, Twilight told him. Twilight, no. You know how my parents go get if you start shooting at journalists. The remaining triplets pouted. We could use non-lethal rounds, Arya suggested. Do you want my mom to ground you? No, she sighed. Then just drop it. We'll call Shiny and see if we can get ECSD to take care of it. She said with finality. In here, I thought my knife as a princess was going to be the abnormal one, Simmer said with a laugh. I don't... Sunset looked at her with guilt. I don't know what to say, Karen. I don't need your pity. She said in a tired voice. I made that wrong choice a long time ago, and I haven't regretted it since. I love my son more than anything, and yes, I was stupid for getting pregnant when I was a teenager, and seeing Blossom going through the same thing just bothers me, especially since her parents were accepting, but I can't take that back. At this point, I don't want to. Yeah, but no, okay? I finally got to my nice straightened out, and I'm lucky I was able to graduate high school while being an unwed mom. I'm also lucky that one of the teachers at school actually gave a fuck about me when I kicked out of my parents' place. Mrs. Windesk has been a godsend to put me up in one of her rooms at her place all these years, and watch over Bramble while I'm making my second job. Yeah, but... Garden sighed. Sunset, look, I know what you're going to say, but let me remind you of something. You're still a teenager. I'm an adult now, technically speaking. I'm 19, going to community college so that I can make a better life for me and my son, and so I can pay back Mrs. Desk for the faith she had in me. Yes, it's tough, and I'm glad I don't live in Sunnytown, or worse, ended up doing tricks or something. We don't all have your luck. My luck? Don't give me that shit, okay? I overheard the Cakes talking about you. For years I thought you were lucky enough as is. Some runaway that managed to save themselves an adopted family in one of the richest suburbs in the country. You don't have to work for shit, yet you do. Maybe so you can impress your two girlfriends. Not judging anything, but seriously, you should just sleep with them and get it over and done with, because they're constantly using their eyes to peel your clothing off. Sunset sighed. She was never going to live down what she did with Pinky in the heat of the moment, even if it wasn't public knowledge. Look, I'm straining. I don't give you all your own. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about when we first met. I thought you were some runaway with a chip on your shoulder. In the past year, you've gone from that to being the girl the Cakes rely on. The girl that gets adopted by a TV celebrity scientist and his wife. The Cakes' niece wants to fuck your brains out. The other girl in the cafe wants to do the same. As I said Boston would do if she were gay. And now the shit I heard the Cakes talking about the other day. That you're a goddamn French princess. A little princess. God sighed. I swear this wasn't real life. I think you were some contrived cartoon character refugee from a girl's show. Because there's no way that this shit would be normal otherwise. That or a character from a really good fanfic series that decides to wrap up all its its majority of its major plot points in book 5. You see, Evening Sada, this is when you start wrapping things up. You don't wrap things up and put some extra long, boring ass epilogue and think that we're going to pay attention. Next thing, I'm going to turn around and find out you're secretly a unicorn or something. Sunset nearly choked her coffee at those words. Garden groaned. Look, I'm not jealous of anything. Well, not much, but you get the point. The point is that we don't have whatever lucky dice you have. We can't all have perfect lives. Even with the help of Mrs. Desk, I still have work to do, 2 jobs, because it would be unfair of me to make her pay for everything for Bramble, even though she's offered more than enough times. As it is, I'm lucky as fuck that my parents merely threw me out of the house for getting knocked up. If they were any more old country, they probably sent my ass on the first plane back to Pakistan to marry some second cousin I never met, and have to spend the rest of my life as his living brother. As it is, they want nothing to do with me, and I'm fine with that. Hell, even if they do, they're never going to find me. Change your name, I take it? What? You think some girl born in Kagarachi has an English name like Garden Variety? No, I changed it when I was 18. I was originally born as Sultanewala, which technically would make my name translated as cultivar. But when I got kicked out, I went with Garden Variety because it's a play on words that also means ordinary. When I became a legal adult, I made that my name. I also dyed my hair so I don't look like I used to. It was then Sunset noticed the burnt pumpkin orange of Karen's eyebrows. That's the original hair color. Contacts too? Yeah, but the contacts make my eyes look brown. Normally they're zucchini color. She took a look at her coffee cup and groaned. Shit, look, I got to get home so I can study for a test, so that way I can work on the cafe in time. Sunset, however, wasn't letting go easily. Look, you're in hospital scrubs right now, which means that, yes, I'm a janitor on the overnight shift, garden finished. If you're going to ask if I SEP, the answer is no, I haven't. It's not like I drive or anything. Can't even afford a car with 2 minimum wage jobs. Well, technically 1 minimum wage, and the fact that cakes pay decently, but even still. Thankfully, I've mastered sleeping on the bus. Sunset sighed. Look, Karen. Sunset. The older girl looked at the younger. I know what you're going to say, and no. I rely on Mrs. Desk 2 months as it is, even though she's practically my kid's de facto grandmother at this point. Making up with my parents is out of the question. They're not jihad-happy Muslims, but they were enough to kick my ass out of the house. The father of the child, he's gone. The something vanished on me, and I don't care. My son is my son, not his. So unless you're gonna break out some random song routine, like some kind of Disney film, and that would be as weird as fuck as you did, my life as it is. Some of us don't get the lucky roll of the dice. Some of us have to make our own luck. I think you should tell the cakes. And what? Have them take pity on me? I'll be honest. I know what they're going to give you the assistant manager slot at the San Palermo store. And I know they're going to want to keep me at the main store as the senior waitress. And now that I know what's going to be a bump in pay, it's not enough to let me quit this second job. So yes, I'm just as fucked at you. Some girl 2 years younger than me is getting that break, okay? But I don't hate you for that. I don't want the cakes to take pity on me because I fucked the wrong guy. It just means I had to work harder to get what I want, so that way I can make a better life for me and Bramble, and so I can pay back Mrs. Desk. Sunset looked at Garden, but unbeknownst to the older girl, Sunset was looking at her. Sunset was looking at herself, or rather, a version that could have been if she hadn't been as lucky. She had no one to turn to in this world when she arrived, and her sexual relationship with Flash could have gotten her in serious trouble, as it had blossomed forth. Would she have had the strength to do what Garden was doing? Or she have ended up in a worse situation that Pete had, with no one to turn to and weighed down by a half-human child? The thoughts tore her, but she no answer and no endless questions. Look, I gotta get going, okay? Just please don't tell him. I don't want anyone's pity. Well then, will you accept a ride? Sunset offered. Probably easier to sleep in my car than it is on a bus. Yeah, and I don't have to worry about waking up to find some old perv next to me feeling me up, Garden me Willie. That is not fun, let me tell you. Octavia carried breakfast up to the next guest room. Ross, you up? Yeah, come in, came the muffled response. Octavia opened the door and walked in to find Raspberry, without clothing and looking at herself in the mirror. Ross, I'm flattered, but I'm straight. Besides, I already had to turn down one girl earlier this year. Once Raspberry got there oddly, Octavia said, Never mind, and put the tray on the table. Oh, you mean, yes. Do you mind putting some clothing on? Serious as that? Stop. I know what you're going to say, and all I'm going to say is that you live here now, for as long as you need to. Uncle Knight and Aunt Velvet already said you belong, and if for some reason it stresses credibility to have yet another teenage girl living in this house, didn't Mrs. Luna offer you some spare bedroom at her place? Yes, but she popped on the bed, reclining in a way that was just a little bit provocative. Okay, now you're doing that on purpose. Doing what? Lying like that. I don't know what it means in pony terms, but in human terms, that is a blatant female sexual come on. Raspberry blushed. Look, Vic, I'm just glad I can enjoy the thoughts of a naked human woman for once in a while without having to worry about feeling weird, icky, or feeling guilty for doing it. Octavia passed her a pair of pajamas. Keys? Let me guess. You finished that sentence and Trixie's going to electrocute you. Very nice, Octavia's offering her a pair of pajamas. Raspberry put them on without complaint. I'm sorry. As a guest, I can still got a lot of work to do if I'm going to be here permanently. Are you giving up? I don't want to. I want to go home, okay? I want to see my family and friends again. No offense, but I hate living here as a human being. I think about that woman, that poor Pegasus mare, who was stuck living the rest of her days, forced to marry some guy she didn't know, have kids with him, and... Octavia sighed. I have no idea why you and Dawsey hate one another. You're both stupid as fuck, you know that? Huh? Ross, I get it that you're afraid of losing everything. But that doesn't give you the right to project yourself onto others. Yes, if what that thing said is true, neither you nor Sunset were the first of your kind to be stuck here. And yes, she probably had no hope of getting back, and no choice but to settle in rural Mexico. But you know what? She had a child with him. Not a child forced onto her by him, but a child with him. A child that she raised was loved and was loved enough to have a child of his own. One that old woman loved and confided her greatest secret in, because he was a family. And even if he didn't believe it, I knew his grandmother loved him enough that he was proud to be his grandmother. I suspect you could have spoken to her and told her what you and her offered her chance to go home. She might not have. Home is where you make it. Raspberry sat up. Well, you see that. Because I have 5 sisters, despite the fact that I'm technically an only child. And because one of my sisters is an alien, and she's the most human person I ever met. Because even when I'm at my worst, my sisters will never let me down. Because that's what family is. What family makes it. You told me you were adopted, and that your adopted family knows you far more than your birth one ever did. So I ask you, if you know that, what gives you the right to not only forget that, but blatantly assume that of others? Raspberry looked at her and buried her face in her hands. Octavia went over and hugged the other girl. The two of them sitting there for the longest time. Finally, Raspberry wiped her eyes and said, "Thanks, I needed that." Hey, little friend's full, okay? Now come on, I need to go buy some new strings for my instruments. And I figure we can stop for chocolates over at Saigon Sweets and meet up with the others, okay? Chocolate's fine by me. Also, if you do that again, I'll drop a line to Sunset's ex-boyfriend and tell him we're on the meat market. Got that? Look, I told you, I'm gonna try to stick it out as a vegetarian as long as I... The deadpan stare from Octavia made her stop. I take it meat market means something different this time? Octavia laughed. You're helpless, you know that.